Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Bariatric Foodie Live. I am Nikki. This is Shannon. Shannon is the internet hates Shannon these last couple of days. I don't know why it's conspiring against her because look at her. She is like the cutest thing ever. However, the internet has not been very nice to Shannon, and so we're experiencing slight delays. So she's going to speak, but I'm just gonna ask you guys to be patient as she speaks because sometimes it might take a second to get to us. We've been trying to work out this problem, but right now we're just not really big fans of the internet because of the fact that it is treating Shannon so poorly. So Shannon, how are you? Let's give it a try with saying something.
Well, hi everybody. How are you? We're good. I'm doing okay. I'm a little bummed about but otherwise I'm doing all right. Jaw pain, still having jaw pain, but I'm here.
You are here, Shannon. You're here. Um, so
Yeah.
so last week, I just want to sort of talk about last week and what happened last week because I was like hella awkward last week because mainly because I wasn't um, anticipating. Oh, wait a minute. Aranda says you can't hear either of us, Aranda? Oh, dear. Can anybody else hear us? And let me see. Okay, Brenda can hear us. Rhonda, I'm not sure why you can't hear us, but I want you to hear us. Okay. Um, Hi, Mary. How are you? I feel like we're going to have a show where we don't have any of these tech difficulties, Shannon. But but
Uh,
going back to what I was saying. So last week, tell folks if you feel okay doing that, where you were last week.
okay, so last week I was attending a conference. It was in my hometown, so we didn't have to go very far, but I was at a hotel and we stayed the whole week, myself, my husband, my kids, we were there. We stayed. The internet was very poor. We did to anything. And I thought maybe it would work, and we got to it, and the internet was not going to let me stay connected at all. At all.
And so from there, things just sort of descended because we're using a platform called Be Live, which allows us to sort of have a little broadcasting dashboard that makes it easier for both of us to come together. And so the way I had it set up, it was very tandem. So I couldn't go live without Shannon there. So I had to cancel that whole broadcast. I had the whole broadcast set up like with the words that go on the screen and the whole nine. And so I had to scrap that. I didn't have time to get the words back on the screen. And so I was just kind of willy nilly. And last week's show is what happens when I'm kind of willy nilly about the fact that I just need you, Shannon. I need you. So, but I just want to like point out one thing too, Shannon, is that you looked seriously fierce last week.
Thank you.
You looked like
Thank you.
you were going to like a ball or something, right?
Yes, we had it was a Christmas themed ball, and it it was, yeah,
Well, you know,
yeah.
Mary is saying we're frozen. Oh dear
I
Lordy.
know. I was
No, I don't
working.
think she's just saying that you're frozen. I think she's saying I'm frozen
Oh,
too.
oh, hmm.
I don't
I don't
like
like
this.
being
It's
frozen.
interesting because okay, can I just take a minute totally off topic to rant about Xfinity? Because I have like the highest tier of internet service that anybody can have. I should not be having
Mhm.
freezes, Comcast. So anyway, well, actually, I have us up on my screen, and we're not frozen on my screen. I have on the computer screen, we're not frozen. So I'm gonna keep going with it.
Sounds
Mary, I'm
good.
not sure why I'm frozen on your screen, but I will say that on my computer screen, it is not currently frozen. So we're gonna just roll with it. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm watching. Oh God, this is so weird. I'm watching over here, and then I'm watching over here. Anyway. So, what are we going to talk about, Shannon, tonight? I had a hot topic to talk about, actually. So, this is something that I read in the news, and I wanted to talk about it next week. Oh gosh, Renita says I'm frozen too. It's interesting because on my screen, I'm not frozen. I don't know what that's about. I feel like everybody's having a different kind of situation. I feel like I need like a camera crew now and some makeup artists and some more people to make sure that this whole thing goes right. Um, oh, you refreshed it and it unfroze.
Hey,
I don't know what that's about. So we're going to keep on rolling. Anyway, I'm going to stop
all
talking
right.
about it being frozen too. But if it is frozen, if somebody says it's frozen, can one of you guys just sort of suggest to out there in the audience, suggest to people that they refresh it and try again? That way I don't have to stop every 5 minutes and talk about how we're frozen. Anyway, so I have a hot topic to talk about. I wanted to talk about it last week, but I really wanted to wait till Shannon was here to talk through it with me. And that is, have you guys heard that? I don't know if you're familiar with the actress Gabourey Sidibe, but she starred in the movie Precious. She is on the show Empire, and she has had weight loss surgery. And she came out maybe 2 weeks ago. Not she didn't come out with having weight loss surgery. She admitted from the jump that she had weight loss surgery, but she came out 2 weeks ago and said very strongly, "I would prefer that you do not compliment me on my weight loss." And so that seemed kind of interesting to me, Shannon. And let me just give you a little bit of background because, and it's a good thing I have my computer screen up here because I'm going to read to you what she actually said. She said that it is the weirdest thing in the world when people compliment her for losing weight, admitting that it's something she needed to do for her own well-being. But she said, "You don't need to congratulate me on it. You don't congratulate me every time I blow my nose. I needed to. It's my body. Mind your own body." And so that got me thinking, what do you guys think about that whole business? What do you think about people complimenting you after as you're losing weight? Because in the Foodie Nation, I hear several different reactions to people complimenting us after we lose weight. One reaction is, people just eating it up. They love it. They love it. Keep it coming. Compliments. I love the attention. I love everybody telling me how great I look. And then there's definitely a camp of people who are like, "What, did you think I didn't look good before? Wasn't I pretty before?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't I worthy of a compliment before?"
Right.
And come at it like that and feel like the complimenting of the changing self is somehow a condemnation of the old self. So where do you fall in all of this, Shannon? How did you feel about compliments as you were losing weight?
Weight. Enjoyed the compliments. They felt really weird to hear. Well, I guess maybe you didn't like the way I looked before, but now, and so I've never been really either. So getting them was really motivating. But I can see where she's coming from with her, with people for blowing their nose or taking care of themselves and any other, just routine type of thing. If it needed to be done, if you needed to be healthy, and that's what she decided to do, was have weight loss surgery. I can see where she's coming from, that the compliments would feel really weird for her if she didn't, if her mind isn't in the place where she was thinking about losing the weight and what she was going to look like, then yeah, they would be really strange to hear compliments about losing weight and what her body looks like and that kind of thing, because that wasn't her main motivation for having surgery. So I can see where she's coming from there.
I think so. I think at the same time, though, you just sort of have to realize that folks are human. And so if they see you changing, it's like, to me, it's almost as if I came in, and I always have to do the disclaimer that I wear a wig. So if I came into my office tomorrow with a platinum blonde wig, people are going to notice that about me. They're going to say something because there's something different about me. That's human nature. They may not, make any judgment call of, oh, you look great or you don't look great, even though human nature is to say, yeah, you look great or you don't look great. But there's something different about you. And I think in that respect, it's okay to acknowledge that there is something different about you. There's something changing about you. However, asking people about their weight loss is something of a landmine. Would you agree, Shannon?
I I agree. Mm-hmm.
Because,
Absolutely.
like, I will never forget, I had just started this new job right after I had surgery, and it was during the bulk of my losing phase. I came into this job at 3 months post-op, and between my third and my sixth month, I lost about 75 pounds. And so at a point, one of my coworkers comes up to me and she says, Nikki, I hope I don't offend you by saying this, but I noticed that you have been changing. And I wonder if those changes are intentional. And so, like, basically, what she was trying to say is, you're losing a crap ton of weight, girl. And are you okay? Is it okay? Because you're losing very rapidly. We get like a little wishy washy about wanting to talk about that. And I think in a future
Mm-hmm.
broadcast, not tonight, because we could probably be talking about this all night long, but in a future broadcast, I think we're going to talk about whether or not how you answer that question is actually important for a couple of different reasons. And some people have different philosophies on how it's okay or not okay to answer that question. So I really, just wanted to say that Gabby Sidibe, it may not be okay to compliment you on your weight loss, but I am very glad that you made a decision that was good for you and good for your body. I am glad that you are taking control of your health. I am glad that you're feeling great if you're feeling great. I wish you nothing but success and happiness. Holla at the Foodie Nation because we're here for you. And keep doing what you're doing. And if that encouragement ever becomes something that you welcome, I would be happy to be your main cheerleader, Gabby Sidibe, because I think that it's just awesome whenever anybody takes control of their health. So that's how I'm gonna sum that one up. I don't know if you have any last words of wisdom, Shannon.
I think you got it about right. It's very life changing, and you take a look at all of your priorities, and that, I mean, it's really empowering to do that. And I commend her for making a decision on that, on that aspect of her.
Mm-hmm. So if you guys are just joining us, I do know that, and Shannon and I are both aware that there might be some glitchy little issues. The internet is acting wonky. Shannon has a little bit of a delay, so her lips and her sound may not match. So I just wanted to say that periodically throughout the broadcast that we are aware of that. We're working on it. This is a new show, so we're getting it together, but it's going to be okay. So Shannon, on the
Yeah.
show, I picked the top 5 that we were going to talk about.
Yep.
So on this one, I asked you to pick the top 5, and so let's talk about what the top 5 is going to be here. The
Okay.
top 5
So the
assumptions about weight loss surgery that can bite you in the butt. Why do you think it's important to talk about that?
um I think that after weight loss surgery, a lot of things are happening, a lot of changes, and you don't want to set yourself up to trip and fall. And so keeping yourself aware of these things that can come back and bite you later on is super important. Just to keep.
Uh-oh. Shannon, we lost you for a minute. Wait, pause. We lost you. Oh, maybe she lost us too. Can you guys still hear me? Can you hear Shannon? And I'm just the only one who can't hear Shannon? This is making me mad, man. it's like my internet will work any other day of the week except for when I'm doing this live broadcast. This is why I am happy that you guys love us as we get ourselves together and tune into the show and all of that good stuff. But Shannon, try again. Try talking. Yeah, I'm still not getting anything from Shannon. I feel like if we all just put our oh snap, Shannon, I heard you.
You heard me?
Yes, I don't
Can
know
you hear
what
me now?
makes you go in and out.
I don't know either because I've got nothing else going on my computer.
I don't know, Shannon. Like I said, I feel like the internet just is conspiring against us. Can you guys, like, I'm looking on my computer. Can you guys just give us like some hearts and thumbs up to encourage us right now? Because I really need it.
We need them.
We need
We
it.
need them.
Okay.
We needs it.
Can we get the hearts? Can we get the yes? Okay. So I feel
Okay.
wait a minute. I saw an angry face. I'm hoping that's anger at the internet and not at us. Okay.
Yeah. Don't be angry at me. Don't be angry at me.
Don't shoot us. So as you were saying, these assumptions can bite you in the butt because you're going through a lot of changes, and it's important to sort of keep the end goal in mind. I think a couple of the ones that we chose also are assumptions of that people in larger society sometimes have. Um, People in larger society have about weight loss surgery patients, and they project those onto us. We start to internalize them, and it can still bite us in the butt, even though it's not really our assumption. It can still bite us in the butt. So,
Exactly.
yeah. So let's dive in with the first one. Rosemary, I know, with the whole bad kung fu movie. But let's dive into the first one. I'm going to show it, Shannon, and this is one you picked. So why don't you tell us, and hopefully your computer will comply, why you picked this one, which is after surgery, it's easy to lose weight.
So I chose this one because sometimes you go through a period of time that losing weight is easy. It happens, and you don't really have to think about it, and it just comes off, and you can get yourself into a feeling, well, that it's always going to lose. Not you. Where you are? Am I here? You come to a point
you
where
started to go out, but then you came back, Shannon.
Okay. You come to a point where it's just as difficult for you to make or lose or continue to lose for anyone who's never been obese or anything of that nature. And that can be really detrimental and to, how you continue with your lifestyle and your habits. And so it's really good to keep that in mind. It's not always as easy as it was when you first.
But you got to make your point. Oh, wait a minute, you're back again. You got to make your point, which is a good one, because of the fact that I agree. I don't necessarily think that, this is not what I think you were saying, but I think that there's like this conception that the weight should be coming off quicker, and all of that. You guys have to understand, all of that sort of ties back to sort of what I call the magic wand syndrome. It's, if I didn't lose 5-6 pounds a week, people come to us, they message us, and they talk about how they've only lost 4 pounds this week. I only lost 4 pounds this week. When's the last time, since before you had surgery, since before that initial sort of water weight drop where everybody drops about 10 to 12 pounds, that you actually lost 4 pounds in a week, or whether you lost 4 pounds or 1 pound or 2 pounds consistently within a week? When's the last time that you had that appetite control where you didn't really have to worry about your appetite as much? You didn't have to worry about going off the rails as much, and knowing that as long as you sort of followed what your body was leading you to do, that you would see a result. And so, yeah, after weight loss surgery, obviously, it is not easy to lose weight no matter what you do, no matter what mechanism you use to lose weight. However, I would argue that weight loss surgery makes it easier to lose weight because of the fact that you have an alteration in your appetite and the capacity to eat, and then also with malabsorptive surgeries in how many calories that you take in. However, you're still going to have to work at it because your body's still going to fight back against the weight loss. Your body, your metabolism hasn't changed. Metabolism has been in place in the human body since the beginning of humans. It's going to fight back against you, and that's going to make your road a little bit more difficult. So it's not going to be easy. And basically, you need to roll with it. You need to have a bigger picture, a bigger plan in mind for yourself. Did I wrap that one up good, Shannon? I think your sound went out again, but the next one is mine, and it's one I feel really passionate about, guys, and that is that eventually you graduate from obesity. Okay, friends, Romans, countrymen, ruin wires, banders, whoever you are, lend me your ear. I'm going to break this one down to you guys because of the fact that I feel like it's like a thing where people don't know that they think this way until you sort of break it down to them. But what I mean by graduate from obesity is that I have experienced enough post-ops in my life to know that there comes a point where a lot of post-ops, not every post-op, but a lot of post-ops believe that they don't have to behave in any certain way because they are a post-op. They think that because they are a normal size, they've achieved a normal size or a normal BMI, that they can employ the same sort of mechanisms as a person who has never had surgery in living their life. And sometimes those take on the characteristics of a person who never had surgery but always ate pretty healthfully and was active. And sometimes that takes on the characteristics of somebody who just eats whatever they want to, but they don't eat very much. This mentality almost always bites you in the butt because in those same people that I experience who think that they've graduated from obesity, they crossed the finish line, they don't have to be a post-op anymore. Here are a couple of things that I notice about them. Number one is that a lot of them that I talk to one-on-one are people who don't think that they have to be a post-op in respect to taking their vitamins. Guys, you got to take your vitamins like forever. And when I say forever, yes, I mean forever, ever. You need to take your vitamins. You do not stop taking your vitamins just because you feel great and you've achieved your weight loss goal. The second thing is that I find that some folks that I speak to with this mentality have this thing where they think that it's just perfectly okay to let things like sugar back into their life without being mindful and intentional about it. I don't have anything against sugar. I love sugar. I don't think it's great for the body in large quantities, but it tastes really, really good. So I get that you want that dynamic back in your life. However, a lot of those same people find themselves having symptoms of reactive hypoglycemia because they're not necessarily tracking. They're not necessarily being mindful of what they're eating together. They're not necessarily in a place where they are balancing their protein with their simple carbohydrates. And so you start to get these blood sugar drops and it freaks you out. So that's very important. You do not, just in case I haven't been clear up to this point, I'm gonna get real close to the camera. Shannon knows when I get close to the camera, I'm passionate about something. You do not graduate from obesity. Obesity is a chronic disease and you can manage it to the point where you get to be a normal BMI and you get to be a normal size. However, you are still a person with obesity. And that excess weight that is a result of the obesity can come back and will come back unless you find a sustainable way to manage your weight through what you eat and how you move. That's just the long and short of it. This is why so many people experience regain, because of the fact that you sort of, don't take into account that some of these habits have to be forever. They just have to be forever. So don't tell yourself, oh, I'm going to exercise now until I get down to a certain weight and then I don't have to exercise anymore. Don't do that. You need to actually find a sustainable way to do this where you're active, where you're eating mindfully, where you're eating nutritious foods, where you're drinking enough water, you're taking your vitamins, all of that stuff for the rest of your life. Until the day you take the last breath on this earth, you need to do these things. You are never not going to be a bariatric patient. And I really wanted to tell you that. Anyway, the next one, and Shannon, I hate to share production notes with you whilst whilst we're on the broadcast. However, I wanted to say that you can also try logging on. That link that I gave you to join this broadcast, you can log on from your phone if you want to. Just don't disconnect from the computer until you log on to the phone, and then I can get you in here. So, and I was starting to type that, but then that wasn't going so well. So, anyway, moving right along. Yikes. Sorry. My platform is just doing weird things. So eventually you graduate from obesity is the second one. Hold on, guys. I need to refresh something, and I'm not sure what the broadcast is going to do when I refresh this, okay? It may black out for a minute. Don't freak out. Okay, I'm back. Are you back? Let me see. There we go. We are a hot mess today. Are you on your phone now, Shannon?
I turned my light on.
Oh, okay. Well, I can hear you much better. So maybe the refreshing did something.
Maybe. Okay, let's keep our fingers crossed. All right, let's do it.
I can hear. I'm just so happy to hear you. It was on my side. It was because my chat box was covering your face, and so I couldn't unmute you because you had some ambient noise. Look, we keep it real here on Bariatric Foodie. Okay, we don't have a production staff. This is just who we are. Okay, so your next one is that folks will always know you were once bigger. What's that about, Shannon?
Right. So that about that now it kind of ties in with my previous one, that you were getting a lot of compliments, and the changes were very drastic, very visual. And then there comes a point where you may meet somebody and they just think, oh, that's just her, and they don't have any context to where you've been or who, how much you weighed 2 years ago or whatever. And or maybe they just see you in a bathing suit and you feel like like you're hot stuff, but they don't think the same way, and that can be really hard to deal with as you get to a point where people don't always know that, and they're going to judge you by what they see. They're going to have preconceived notions of who you are, and it's hard to stay the course when you say, I work so hard and people still think of me as this overweight person because I never made it to goal, or I didn't get to a normal BMI or whatever. And that can be really hard to, keep yourself going. People are not going to know you were bigger. But if you work really hard at being yourself and being, who you are now, I think that's very important to, always have that in your mind. People are going to judge you. They're going to think whatever they want to think about you. And it doesn't matter, how much you've changed, because that's them and it's not you.
And you bring up an important point. What you just said, though, Shannon, is who you are now. Spend some time figuring out who that is. Who are you as the smaller person? Who are you as, if you achieve like a quote unquote normal BMI or normal weight, who are you as that person? Because a lot of people identify as, I am Nikki who used to be 350 pounds. And that's like a big part of your identity. And I'm not saying to to totally disregard that part of your identity. What I'm saying is that you have changed and you rightfully should have changed. That is something that happens as you lose weight. You change, you go through things, you learn things about yourself and things like that. And figure out who you are as a person, as a regular sized person, or as a slightly bigger than normal person, or whatever person you are. And that brings me to another thing, is because the reason why I'm stuttering over my words is because I am so against um, your identity having anything to do with your size. You're allowed to be confident and sexy at a size 26. You're allowed to think that you are the shiz at 350, 400, 500 pounds. You are allowed to do that. Now, society is going to try and tell you you're not allowed to do that. But you are allowed to love yourself. You are allowed to openly express love for yourself, no matter what size you are. You are a person, first and foremost, who is worthy of love and worthy of loving yourself. So don't let anybody rain on your parade when it comes to loving yourself. You are allowed to do that at whatever size you are, and don't wait until you get to a particular size to do that. So, okay, so moving right along with this top 10, let's see, what's the next one? That all post-ops gain the weight back. Whoo! This one was mine, and it's something that people tell you a lot as you're going through the process of getting surgery. It's something that people tell you after you've had surgery. If you share with them that you've had surgery, they're like, oh, well, my sister's cousin's boyfriend's aunt had that surgery and she gained all her weight back. Let me just start out by telling you a little secret about society, guys. That person is an urban myth. They don't exist. And now I'm not saying, before y'all jump on me, I'm not saying that people don't regain their weight. Clearly they do regain their weight. I have regained some weight. However, that person that they're referring to doesn't exist. They don't really know that person. Call them out. Feel free to call them out. What's their name? Where do they live? I'd love to talk to them. You're going to see them scurry away really fast because that person is an urban legend that they have made up to throw you off of your game. Don't let them throw you off your game, foodies. Don't let them do it. So basically, this one can bite you in the butt in a couple of ways. This can bite you in the butt from other people's assumptions, but then also bite you in the butt from your own internal thinking, because I see a lot of people who are newer out, and when I say relationship with food revolves entirely around not being a regain statistic. So you are not focusing your energy on developing a healthy relationship with food, a healthy relationship with activity, a healthy relationship with your emotions, a healthy relationship with stress. You're not focusing on that stuff. You're focusing simply on what it takes not to be a regain statistic. That's dangerous, guys. You need to figure out what your personal eating philosophy is. If you're one of those people who wants all natural stuff and very nourishing stuff, if you're a person who believes in moderation and that you can have treats every once in a while, whoever you are, you need to figure out that relationship with food. You need to figure out how food is not going to be your boyfriend or girlfriend when you're lonely, how it's not going to be the event that you look forward to when you're bored. It's not going to be the outlet when you're stressed. Food is food. It is nourishing. It is enjoyable. We eat when we're hungry. Being hungry is actually, to me, a very glorious thing. Food tastes like a million times better when I eat when I'm hungry. But learning how to have a healthy relationship with food is so integral to being successful in the long term as a bariatric post-op. So do not waste your time trying to rail against something that hasn't happened and probably won't ever happen to a severe degree if you are mindful in your process. Regain is not like the boogeyman. It doesn't just jump up out of a bush from behind somewhere. Regain is the result of progressive actions that take place. And when you see those actions take place, you have a way to intervene. You can call your surgeon, you can call your nutritionist, you can say, I'm up 2 pounds and it's been about 2-3 weeks now, so I need to figure out what's going on. You can call in your cavalry for help. and get help with the regain. Regain is you're not going to wake up one day and be 100 pounds heavier. So that whole, folks always gain their weight back thing. Don't formulate your relationship with food around the fear of regain. Formulate your relationship with food around the fact that you want to have a happy, full, long, healthy life. That's what you formulate your relationship with food around. I didn't even let Shannon get a certain word edgewise. I just started preaching, Shannon.
You got it, though. That's exactly right. You got it. Like, what else can I say? There's nothing really more.
I'm like, man. Like people, I'm not going to call out specific behavior patterns, but sometimes people message us with stuff where I'm just like I have to be like, Shannon, I don't know what to say in this situation. I'm not a nutritionist. Shannon's not a nutritionist. We are very open about that. We are two post-ops. Shannon, remind me, I should know this. This is terrible. You're going to break up with me as a host. But how far out are you again?
I'll be 5 years post-op in October.
Okay, and so I am 9.5 years post-op. So we've got some years between us. And so that's what we advertise ourselves as two people who have lived this life for a couple of years and want to create a comfortable space for other people to learn to live this life too. So we get these messages sometimes where people are just doing really unhealthy things for the fear of regain. Don't do that. Establish a good relationship with food. Establish a good relationship with activity. Establish a good relationship with your emotions, with stress management, with your environment, with your family, with your relationships. Use the time that you are in sort of that free fall of weight to be able to get some things right in your life and identify what those contributing factors are to you becoming a person who was in need of bariatric surgery in the first place, and then start chipping away at those things. That's what you do. So anyway, I think wait a minute. Shannon.
Yeah, one more.
Well, wait a minute. You're doing the next
I'm
two,
here.
though, because you're supposed to do 3 this time. I don't know how we got out of whack, but anyway, the next one. Oh, wait a minute. No, this is the last one, right? I'm all confused.
Last
anyway,
one.
What is the last? The last one is. What is it, Shannon?
X on forever. 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 Really long time. And I think this one goes along with the previous one, like conversely. Dangerous to say, oh, I've lost this many pounds. You don't know what's going to happen. That's a really, I don't know. It's dangerous to put yourself, to put that much stress on yourself, that much, then you're constantly, oh, I've got to do this for that I don't know, it just makes me nervous, Nick. The word forever makes me makes me nervous.
What makes me nervous is that again, I'm gonna like I said, I'm doing my periodic reminder that the internet is not being kind to us once again this week. So I saw my face freeze in my computer, and then you froze up a couple times. So just my quick mandatory apology about that. And I think we're getting a little feedback. So Shannon, I keep muting you. I muted you, Shannon. So yeah, the X pound's gone forever. I don't actually, I don't want to rain on people's parade when they say that. However, I do want folks to realize that when you say that, you are kind of setting up a gauntlet of whether or not you think that you're successful. Because if you say 100 pounds gone forever, and then you gain to where you now only have 96 net pounds lost, you guys have this wonderful talent, maybe not all of you, but some of you guys have this wonderful talent for beating yourselves to a pulp for that particular event in your life. Whereas if you 100 pounds gone, however many to go or whatever, put things in perspective. It's fine if you want to say that it's gone forever and, look at it aspirationally. However, the problem comes is if you are struggling, you're not, from now on, new foodie rule, you are not allowed to beat yourself up for regain, ever. There is no situation under which you are allowed to beat yourself up for regain. If I hear you beating yourself up for regain, I'm going to call you out on it. And I know this is like one of those things where you're going to argue me down, like, we need to take action for regain. I'm not saying that you don't need to take action for regain. What I am saying is you are not allowed to beat yourself up for regain. What you are allowed to do is to examine your behavior up to this point and identify the problem spots. What you are allowed to do is talk to people and employee health and say that this is something that I feel like I can't do on my own, so I need help doing it. I need your support. You can say that to your family, to your doctor, to your coworkers, to whoever. It's okay to do that. It's okay to acknowledge that you made some bad decisions, and it's okay to say these are the decisions that I don't want to make anymore. But what it's not okay to do is to say I'm a failure, I'm a pig, I'm never going to change, I'm doomed to regain everything back, I guess this wasn't meant for me, I wasn't meant to be skinny, I wasn't meant to be a normal size, the universe just doesn't think I deserve it, the universe is against me. You're not allowed to do any of that anymore in the Foodie Nation, but that's a new Foodie rule. I'm instituting it right now, is you are not allowed to beat yourself up anymore in any respect for regain. You are allowed to educate yourself. You're allowed to empower yourself. You're allowed to learn from your mistakes and use your mistakes as a teachable moment. You are no longer allowed to beat yourself up. That is my word for the day. Anyway, Shannon, we're about to do this food topic. And so I'm not sure how to handle this with the phone problems. I don't know if you want to try from your phone if your reception gets better. Like I said, that link I gave you will work from a mobile device if you want to hop in there, and then I can add you to the broadcast that way. That might work better. I don't know. So while we're waiting for Shannon to do that, I will say that another thing, where I sent you that link, just click on that link and see what happens, Shannon. Another thing that sort of gets me about folks who are in the process of losing weight is the fact that you have to have, and I alluded to this before, you have to have a larger goal, a larger mission that you're working toward. You can't simply go into this blind, not really knowing what the heck you're in this for. Because when the times get tough, when the rubber hits the road, or whatever cliche you wanna say, you're gonna need that why. Why are you in this? Why are you doing this? Why did you start this journey in the first place? And why do you need to continue it? It needs to be bigger than your weight. It needs to be bigger than achieving a certain size. It needs to be about you making a change that is fundamentally going to make you live a better life. That's what this is all about. So I just wanted to say that just in case it's helpful to you, that everybody needs a why. It is one of those absolutely have to have now. Freezing. I'm about to give up on this, on me and my internet. I'm all incremental now, and now Shannon is very, very clear. So anyway, Shannon is not. Shannon's still on her computer. I guess it's not working from the phone. No. Okay. I tried. Okay. So our next and final subject for this evening is going to be, and maybe Shannon's sound is going to catch back up with us. But our next and final thing for this evening is going to be talking about food. Namely, what the hell is blank? Now, you guys don't tend to say what the hell, but you usually, we will post about certain foods and you'll go, I have no idea what that is, Nikki. I don't know where it is. I don't know where to get it. I don't know what it's supposed to taste like. So we're going to try and highlight, as we see those kinds of foods, to highlight them here on the show so that you know what these foods are, have a rough idea of how they're prepared, why you might consider eating them, and then also what they taste like. So, Shannon, do you mind if I get started?
Nope, go on ahead.
Okay, so my first one, and you can't see this very well because we're on the screen, but I have a big old jar of it. This is like a gallon jug. This is, you know what is actually used for? And yeah, crucify me if you want to, because this is not necessarily my habit or my thing, but my boyfriend is very fond of making moonshine. And so these are his moonshine jars. I stole one of his moonshine jars. But inside this moonshine jar is a substance called, I'm going to put it real close to the camera, textured vegetable protein, or TVP. How many of you know what TVP is already? How many of you know what TVP is? Like, do you know? TVP is, like I said, textured vegetable protein. It is a soy product. And here's the thing about TVP that you may not know is a lot of you think that you haven't eaten TVP, but here's something that's going to blow your mind. If you have ever eaten imitation bacon bits, which I don't even understand that concept, but I've been served them in my life on salad. But if you have ever eaten imitation bacon bits, you have eaten TVP. TVP, imitation bacon bits, are TVP flavored like bacon. So, what is it? It is a soy product. It comes dry. I will put some in my hand. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it in my hand, but it comes dry. So it's like really, really dry. It looks kind of like, you guys are not going to be able to see this, but it looks kind of like oatmeal or, I don't know, chippy flake oatmeal. And it doesn't have any taste. It doesn't have any aroma to it. Basically, TVP tastes like whatever you mix with it. So if you mix chicken broth with it, sorry, I've dropped something. If you mix chicken broth with it, it's going to taste like chicken. If you mix beef broth with it, it's going to taste like beef. Cheryl, I will ask that question again in a second when we do the Q&A. So you know, TVP is pretty tasteless. And how do you prepare? Well, first of all, why would you want to eat it? Some people obviously have soy restrictions based on various factors. You just can't eat that much soy. If you can't eat soy, don't eat TVP. However, a quarter cup of TVP, 1/4 cup of TVP has 80 calories and 12 grams of protein. So it is really high in protein, guys. And so that's one reason you might consider eating it. Now, what do you do with it? Well, it needs to be rehydrated. And so you do whatever amount of TVP, you do an equal amount of some type of liquid. It can be water, even though if it's water, it's just going to be tasteless because, like I said, TVP takes on the taste of whatever it is that you mix with it. You can be chicken broth, it can be beef broth, it can be veggie broth, whatever you would like to mix with it. Just make sure that it's equal parts TVP and the liquid. And you can also put it in things that are particularly watery because TVP will keep absorbing that liquid until it's completely saturated with the liquid. The texture of it after it is rehydrated is kind of like ground meat, except way lighter. It's even way lighter than ground turkey. It's more like a ground chicken looking sort of deal. But it goes great in ground meat dishes, by the way. So if you want to throw some in with your spaghetti sauce to up the protein in the spaghetti sauce, TVP pound for pound is cheaper than meat. I get mine actually in the bulk bin at Whole Foods, and I know people call it whole paycheck, but at Whole Foods, TVP is actually pretty cheap. I think it's like $1.99 a pound or something like that. And very rarely do I find beef or ground turkey that's $1.99 a pound at Aldi's sometimes, but you know, it's usually not the leanest thing in the world. However, TVP is a great addition to, like I said, spaghetti sauces. My daughter likes TVP tuna, so I mix it in with the tuna with all of the canning juices still in the tuna, mix it together and proceed from there. I also make a tuna burger that has TVP in it, and I still have to use egg as a binder, but the TVP actually takes care of the moisture. So there's a bunch of TVP recipes on Bariatric Foodie. So if you want to go to the website and search TVP, there's actually a primer on TVP where you can get a closer look at what it is and all of the stats about it. However, that is what the hell TVP. When we talk about TVP, it's this stuff. Okay, that's what we're talking about. All right, Shannon, we're gonna jump over to you. What have you brought for us to see what the hell it is?
I have jicama.
You got
Jicama.
jicama. Jicama. I
Jicama.
just like saying jicama. Can we just say that for a minute? Jicama, jicama, jicama. Oh dear Lord, that jicama. Wait a minute, hold it up again, Shannon. I think it's the size of your face.
It is.
Okay.
It's gigantic.
Okay, so
I got this for 88 cents a pound.
oh wow.
It's
That's
not
pretty
it was
good.
Yeah, it was a pretty good deal. I'm fortunate because I can get them like this, but I can also go to my grocery store and get it.
Move slow,
It's
Shannon. You'll
already
learn for a second. Oh, it's diced up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. See, in my neck of the woods, they don't have jicama diced up, and there's only one grocery store that actually carries it because jicama is a product of, I believe, South America and Mexico, parts south. So it's imported. We do not grow jicama in the United States. And so that's actually a pretty impressive price considering how far that jicama had to travel to get to
Yep.
you. Now, if you had to describe what jicama, I have my description, but it's your food, so I'm gonna let you go first. But if you had to describe what jicama tastes like, what does jicama taste like?
Like a savory apple.
You know, that's actually kind of like my description. I always say if a potato and an apple, like a red delicious apple, got together and had a baby, it would be a jicama.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Right.
And it would get the potato's complexion, but the apple's personality. Do
Uh-huh.
any of you guys live in a region where the jicama is sliced up like a tortilla? Because when I made those jicama fish tacos, I did not have any idea that this product existed. However, I wish we had it in Maryland because I almost cut my finger off cutting the jicama for those jicama tacos. But that's one thing. But what do you do? What do you do with jicama, Shannon?
I use it mostly with tahine. I eat it with tahine, just sprinkle it on. But I go for dips, kind of like a crack, anything you want, because it's got a really nice crunch. I
Hmm.
really like that.
Yeah,
I also
and
use it for slaw.
ooh, jicama slaw, that sounds good. Guys, for those of you who don't know what tahine is, last week's show we went over tahine. What is that, Shannon? Is that jicama slaw?
Yeah,
This wasn't supposed to be a one ingredient challenge, Shannon. Don't show off. Don't show off. She's
I had all
showing
this
off, guys.
jicama.
She's all puffed up because she won the last one ingredient challenge. So now she's just like coming with ingredients. We didn't even discuss ingredients. I didn't make anything with the ingredients. Fine, Shannon, fine.
Well,
But
you know,
you
I
just
was
like
hungry anyway.
slaw just because it's Thursday.
I was hungry. I was hungry.
Okay, fine. I'll allow it. Anyway, so yeah, jicama. For those who don't know what tahini is, last week's show, which is still pinned to the top of the Bariatric Foodie page, I haven't put it on YouTube, but I will tomorrow. I tried tahini for the first time. Shannon was supposed to guide me through this exercise, but as you learned in the beginning of this broadcast, we had hotel internet broadcast gate. So I tried tahini myself. I like tahini, by the way. I like it a lot. I tried it on watermelon because my friend Beck told me that my life would forever be changed if I tried it with the watermelon. And I am here to tell you that my life was forever changed. My life is still not the same as it was before last week's show. It is definitely different with the knowledge that you can put tahini on the watermelon. So that's awesome. Since then, I've used it on chicken and a couple of other things. But we're not here to talk about tahini. We're here to talk about jicama. And jicama, I use it. I put it in like things like chicken salad to give it a little bit of crunch because I like crunch. And I used to get that crunch from toast, but I'm not trying to be about that life anymore. So I put the jicama in there. Again, I make tacos with it. And that was an idea I actually got from PF Chang's. And what else do I do with jicama? I just a lot of times I just dip it in something, and it is what it is. So anyway, moving right along to our last. What the hell is it? Food for the night. And most of you guys know what the hell this is, but I don't know. There's a disconnect in actually how to cook it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But what the hell, you guys? I don't know if you know what this is. Can you see it up close? Can you see it up close? Lighting is kind of bad in here, but this is red quinoa. And yes, it is pronounced quinoa, not quinoa. Like keen, you're keen to do something. Wah, like wah. Anyway, and do you cook quinoa, Shannon?
I haven't recently, but I have.
But you have
quinoa
before.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing
like
about
quinoa
that is the biggest misconception about quinoa is that it's exactly the same as rice. It is not exactly the same as rice. It doesn't cook up like rice. In fact, quinoa is, I believe, a seed. It's not even a grain. I believe it's a seed. Quinoa is a superfood. It's a superfood because it has all of the amino acids. It is a complete protein. All of the amino acids that your body needs to put that protein to good use in your body. Does that mean that it is low carb? No, it does not. Quinoa is mainly a source of carbohydrates, but it does have a complete protein in there. It is a very healthy food. It has nutrients in it, which is why you might consider eating it. Adrian doesn't like the texture of it, which is completely fine because we like what we don't like. The thing with my kids, I got them to try quinoa, but you know what turned them off was that when you cook it, it has that little ring that pops out of the grains of the quinoa. And that was a little bit like too much Alien versus Predator for them. They were just like, no, we're not down with that little ring popping out. We're not ever eating this again. And that was the end of quinoa and my children. I like quinoa. It takes a little bit longer than rice for me to cook. You have to guard it, you have to mind it, you have to make sure that you have enough liquid in there. Nowadays, though, they have quinoa products that come out of the box that are still pretty healthy, but they've been partially cooked and then dried for you so that you don't have to cook them quite so long. So if you have the chance to try quinoa, there's quinoa recipes on the blog. We have a roasted veggie and quinoa recipe. We have a jerk shrimp with quinoa recipe. I think we have a couple of soups with quinoa recipes. So yeah, there's definitely stuff on the blog, and that's INOA if you want to search the blog. But while I'm on the subject of grains, because I'm 9 years post-op, I've been given the all clear to integrate grains back into my life, and grains are not the majority of what I eat. I want to eat mostly protein. So I endeavor to eat for most of my calories come from protein, but I do actually eat some grains. And so I wanted to share with you a couple of the other grains that are hanging out in my cabinet. These may or may not show up very well on camera. I keep all of my grains in baggies because I get them from the Whole Foods for the most part. So does anybody want to venture to guess? This is a smaller grain. You can't see it, but it's like this little pellet kind of grain. Do you know what this is, Shannon? It looks kind of like cream of wheat.
I have no idea.
Looks kind of like cream of wheat. Let me pull back from the camera a little bit. This is called amaranth.
Amaranth.
Ranth. Amaranth. It is one of those things that is called an ancient grain because it was around since ancient times. And I went to Whole Foods and I picked me up some amaranth. It cooks up kind of the same way as quinoa, except it doesn't have the little weird ring that pops out. It's a good grain. It's pretty flavorless. It has like a slightly little nutty flavor to it. But I like mixing this into things because I try to avoid making things like pasta salads and things like that. My tummy hurt. I don't care what kind of pasta, healthy pasta you suggest. I'm not eating it. It makes my tummy hurt. Me and pasta are over. We broke up. So I use things like a mixture of grains. I'll use some quinoa, I'll use some amaranth, and get those grains in there with those good nutrients. So amaranth is another one that is a good, I wouldn't necessarily use this as a rice replacement so much as to mix into other things like soups and things like that, because the grain actually does stay fairly tiny after you cook it. It does not like necessarily swell up and absorb the water. The grain is really, really, really small. So I usually use it with other grains in a mixed grain sort of setting, and that works. And then the last thing I was gonna, and this one actually has the name on it, so it's kind of like a, and I haven't opened this one yet, so you can't see it, but which is farro. One of my coworkers makes this really awesome green salad with farro. It is so good. So I bought myself some to have on hand just so I could make a salad with some farro in it. And I haven't actually used this one yet, but I've tasted the farro. The farro has how would I describe the flavor? Again, it has a little bit of a nuttiness to it, but not overwhelming. It was mixed with a light dressing of like vinaigrette and garlic and a couple of other things, so it just tasted amazing. And there wasn't like a whole bunch of it in the green salad. There was just I would say there was like 3/4 green salad and other stuff, and then 1/4 of the farro just sort of mixed in there. And then I think that there was some like dried berries in the salad. It was just this amazing salad that I really meant to ask for the recipe for, but I never did. So that is a tour of the grains in Nikki's cabinet. What you won't see in my cabinet too much is rice. I don't mess with rice too much, white or brown rice. I just don't. It's just not my preference. I don't have anything against rice. Brown rice is, something that my kids could probably eat fine. Rice kind of hurts my tummy. If I want rice, I do cauliflower rice. I love cauliflower rice. I thank the gods for the day that somebody hipped me to cauliflower rice. And I thank Trader Joe's for popularizing cauliflower rice by manufacturing it, because now everybody from Green Giant on down to like generic stores are carrying cauliflower rice in the bag that you can just throw in the freezer, toss in the microwave, and then you've got cauliflower rice. When I first had surgery, you had to sit there with like the little grater or your food processor and make your own cauliflower rice. You guys don't know how good you had it. That was back when I was walking 5 miles barefoot in the snow to school. Anyway, moving right along. So we got through this show, dagnabbit, Shannon. So we're about to wrap up, but before we do, we always wrap up with foodie Q&A. And I saw a couple of people with questions, and forgive me if I'm looking to the side because the feed on my computer seems to be moving faster than the feed on this platform. So does anybody have any questions about anything that we said or anything? I know that Cheryl, you had asked a question. I'm going to try and find it so that I can answer it. But if anybody has any questions, now would be a good time to ask. Let's see. Leanne used to make broccoli casserole with rice, broccoli, cauliflower, cheese, and chicken. Could this be a good rice substitute for that dish? For the quinoa, it depends on how you cooked it. If you cooked it all together, because one of the benefits of using rice is that you can throw it in things that have liquid and then throw that in the oven, and then the rice will just cook along with everything else. The quinoa, it may not behave that way. So if you throw cooked quinoa or mostly cooked quinoa in there, if you like cook it a little bit first and then throw it in there with your casserole and then put it in there to finish it off, I think that could work. The only thing I would say is that quinoa is not going to absorb, per se, that moisture like the way rice does. Rice will just keep swelling and swelling and swelling until it's a mushy, like gooky, starchy mess. But quinoa has a certain amount of liquid that it's going to absorb, and then it's not going to absorb anymore. So if you have a really, really thin sauce that goes with that, you might want to make the sauce a little bit thicker so that the quinoa that it balances out to become the right texture and it's not actually soup. I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Let's see, who's this speaking? Let me, let's see. Rosemary says, I've stayed away from quinoa simply because it's not something that, oh, wait a minute, I could actually show this comment. It's not something that the nutritionist and I have talked about. I'm 7 months out, is something allowed early. Ask your dietitian, nutritionist, whoever you see, because I can't tell you whether or not it's okay for you to eat that. If they say it's okay for you to eat that, it's okay for you to eat that. I don't think I tried quinoa until I was probably about 18 months out. But then again, I didn't know quinoa existed until I was about 18 months out. So talk to your dietitian. Their rules always, always, always going to trump mine. So that is my official answer for that. Let's see. Let's keep going here. I knew there was a, okay. Here's the question from Cheryl. How do the new probiotics compare with pills like the culturally new product or Tropicana probiotic? Does anybody know? That would be a good does anybody know question, because I only took probiotics one time, and that was immediately after my surgery last year. And not to beat a dead horse, but I feel like I have to say what my surgery was last year every time I say it, is that I had a bilateral mastectomy last year. And as you all know, when you're taking painkillers and you're coming down off of anesthesia, weird things happen to your system, and weird things happen to my system. And so my doctor recommended I take some probiotics to get things working again, I guess is the best way to put it. And so that's how that played out. But I don't actually know a lot about probiotics. So if anybody knows about probiotics, please, please, please comment on this post, because I am not the best person to do a comparison contrast. I only have a very rudimentary knowledge of probiotics in the first place. Let me just go down and see, make sure there's no other questions in here. Let's see. We see a lot of, oh, Mary, you were commenting a lot, Mary. Go, Mary. Mary is our buddy. So I don't see any other questions. I'm going to do a going once, going twice on any other questions. You have a 5-year post-op and a 9-year post-op here. So this is your opportunity to ask us any questions. Well, no, it's not your only opportunity. We'll be back next week, hopefully with better internet, but we'll be back next week. And we thank you for riding with us through the ups and the downs and the technical difficulties and all of that. Let's see. What did Cam said? Hi, Cam. It's good to see you again. I remember you being on here once before. Quinoa is an amazing source of protein, easily digested. My body loves it. I can't eat huge amounts of quinoa, but it works kind of well for me. So, I roll with it. So I'm going to assume that there are no other questions. And so we're going to wrap it up for this week. I did want to remind you of 2 things before we wrap up. 2 things. Number one is that it is zoodle season, guys. Zoodle, 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 zoodle. That's called the Zoodle song, guys. It's coming to Spotify near you. So this is my book, Oodles and Zoodles, Your Jumpstart Guide to Zucchini Noodles. And here's the deal. This week on Instagram, are you guys following Bariatric Foodie on Instagram? We're on Instagram, except our name on Instagram is Instagram.com/bariatric_foodie_nation. Let me write that down for you guys, because I want to tell you what we're doing on Instagram this week. But let me write out this URL, not bariatricfoodie.com. I have y'all going completely the wrong place. Instagram.com/bariatric_foodie_nation. And that is going to be your pathway to Instagram. So going on Instagram this week. This week is Zoodle Education Week, guys. We have been doing zoodle education every single week. So we've been going through the different types of zoodles. We've been going through the best way to cut them, the best way to cook them. We've been sharing recipes from inside Oodles and Zoodles. And these are not recipes that are already on the blog. Like it was already on the blog, so I'm just going to share this recipe. No, these are recipes from inside the book that you ordinarily would not be able to get unless you bought the book. So, Bariatric Foodie, why do I keep wanting to say Bariatric Foodie? Instagram.com/bariatric_foodie_nation. That is where you can find that information. And we're going to be doing it all week long. And if you do need zoodle recipes, you can go to bariatricfoodie.com/oodles. And that is where you will be able to find the Oodles of Zoodles book for purchase. And it has lots of different recipes to use zoodles. But then it's also, like all of my books, part tutorial on how to deal with zoodles, how to cut them, how to cook them, the whole 9 yards. So that was the first thing I wanted you guys to know about. We're on Instagram doing zoodle education this week. Get over there, follow me on Instagram, and get in on that for those recipes. And then the second thing is that we always have to close by thanking our sponsor, bariatricpal.com. Your friend in bariatrics. It is like the Amazon of the bariatric world. They carry their own products and they carry everybody else's products too. On our very first show, Shannon and I reviewed their protein chips, which are called the HealthWise protein chips. And we have a special discount that actually, I believe it expires tomorrow, Shannon. Foodie Chips is the code Foodie Chips, FOODIE Chips, on checkout for any of those HealthWise chips. And if you type in Bariatric Pal HealthWise chips, it should come up, the ones that we reviewed. The barbecue crunch, the ranch crunch, the dill crinkles, the sea salt and vinegar, and the pizza crunch, I believe, are the ones that we reviewed. 25% off of those chips. So get in on that while the 25% discount is still going on. Next month, we're going to bring you another great product, but we have to thank bariatricpal.com because they are sponsoring the show. And they are the reason why better internet and sound resolution is on the way for bariatric. So, until then, Shannon.
All right.
Girl.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So we are going to see you guys round along. We're sorry, but we are going to see you guys next week on Bariatric Foodie Live. But goodbye, everybody.
Bye.